This is what your religions mean when they say that you were created in the image and likeness of God. This doesn't mean, as some have suggested, that our physical bodies look alike, although God can adopt whatever physical form God chooses for a particular purpose. It does mean that our essence is the same. We are composed of the same stuff. We are the same stuff, with all the same properties and abilities, including the ability to create physical reality out of thin air. My purpose in creating you, my spiritual offspring, was for me to know myself as God. I have no way to do that save through you. Thus, it can be said, and has been many times, that my purpose for you is that you should know yourself as me. This seems so amazingly simple, yet it becomes very complex because there is only one way for you to know yourself as me, and that is for you first to know yourself as not me. Now try to follow this. Fight to keep up, because this gets very subtle here. Are you ready?
I think so.
Good. Remember, you've asked for this explanation. You've waited for it for years. You've asked for it in layman's terms, not theological doctrines or scientific doctrines.
Yes, I know what I've asked.
And having asked, so shall you receive. Now, to keep things simple, I'm going to use your Children of God mythological model as a basis for discussion, because it is a model with which you are familiar, and in many ways it is not that far off. So let's go back to how this process of self-knowing must work. There is one way I could have caused all of my spiritual children to know themselves as parts of me, and that was simply to tell them. This I did, but you see, it was not enough for spirit to simply know itself as God, or part of God, or children of God, or inheritors of the kingdom, or whatever mythology you want to use. As I've already explained, knowing something and experiencing it are two different things. Spirit longed to know itself experientially, just as I did. Conceptual awareness was not enough for you, so I devised a plan. It is the most extraordinary idea in all the universe, and the most spectacular collaboration. I say collaboration because all of you are in it with me. Under the plan, you are pure as spirit. You would enter the physical universe just created. This is because physicality is the only way to know experientially what you know conceptually. It is in fact the reason I created the physical cosmos to begin with, and the system of relativity which governs it and all creation. Once in the physical universe, you, my spirit children, could experience what you know of yourself. But first, you had to come to know the opposite. To explain this simplistically, you cannot know yourself as tall unless and until you become aware of short. You cannot experience the part of yourself that you call fat unless you also know to come thin. Taken to ultimate logic, you cannot experience yourself as what you are until you've encountered what you are not. This is the purpose of the theory of relativity and of physical life. It is by that which you are not that you yourself are defined. Now, in the case of the ultimate knowing, in the case of knowing yourself as the creator, you cannot experience yourself as a creator unless and until you create. And you cannot create yourself until you uncreate yourself. In a sense, you have to first not be in order to be. Do you follow?
I think
Stay with it. Of course, there is no way for you to not be who and what you are. You simply are that pure, creative spirit. Have always been and always will be. So you did the next best thing. You caused yourself to forget who you really are. Upon entering the physical universe, you relinquished your resemblance of yourself. You relinquished your remembrance of yourself. This allows you to choose to be who you are rather than simply wake up in the castle, so to speak. It is in the act of choosing to be rather than simply being told that you are a part of God that you experience yourself as being a total choice, which is what, by definition, God is. Yet how can you have a choice about something over which there is no choice? You cannot be my offspring, no matter how hard you try, but you can forget. You are, always have been, and will always be a divine part of the divine whole, a member of the body. That is why the act of rejoining the whole, of returning to God, is called remembrance. You actually choose to remember who you really are, or to join together with the various parts of you to experience the all of you, which is to say, the all of me. Your job on earth, therefore, is not to learn because you already know, but to remember who you are and to remember who everyone else is. That is why a big part of your job is to remind others. That is to remind them so that they can remember also. All the wonderful spiritual teachers have been doing just that. It's your soul purpose. That is to say, your soul purpose.
my God, this is so simple and so symmetrical. I mean, it all fits in. It all suddenly fits. I see now a picture that I have never quite put together before.
Good, that is good. That is the purpose of this dialogue. You have asked me for answers. I have promised I would give them to you. You will make of this dialogue a book, and you will render my words accessible to many people. It is part of your work. Now you have many questions, many inquiries to make about life. We have here placed the foundation. We have laid the groundwork for other understandings. Let us go to these other questions, and do not worry. If there is something about what we have just gone through you do not thoroughly understand, it will all be clear to you soon enough.
There is so much I want to ask. There are so many questions. I suppose I should start with the big ones, the obvious ones, like why is the world in the shape it's in?
Of all the questions man has asked of God, this is the one asked most often. From the beginning of time, man has asked it. From the first moment to this, you have wanted to know, why must it be like this? The classic posing of the question is usually something like, if God is all perfect and all loving, why would God create a pestilence and famine, war and disease, earthquakes and tornadoes, and hurricanes and all manner of natural disaster, deep personal disappointment, and worldwide calamity? The answer to this question lies in the deeper mystery of the universe and the highest meaning of life. I do not show my goodness by creating only what you call perfection all around you. I do not demonstrate my love by not allowing you to demonstrate yours. As I have already explained, you cannot demonstrate love until you can demonstrate not loving. A thing cannot exist without its opposite, except in the world of the Absolute. Yet the realm of the Absolute was not sufficient for you or me. I existed there, in the always, and it is from where you two have come. In the Absolute, there is no experience, only knowing. Knowing is a divine state, yet the grandest joy is in being. Being is achieved only after experience. The evolution is this: knowing, experiencing, being. This is the Holy Trinity, the Triune One, that is God. God the Father is knowing, the parent of all understandings, the begetter of all experience, for you cannot experience that which you do not know. God the Son is experiencing, the embodiment, the acting out of all that the Father knows of itself, for you cannot be that which you have not experienced. God the Holy Spirit is being, the disembodiment of all that the Son has experienced of itself, the simple exquisiteness possible only through the memory of the knowing and experiencing. This simple blessing, this simple being is bliss. It is God's state after knowing and experiencing itself. It is that for which God yearned in the beginning. If you wish to be accurately represented, you must work to change anything in your life which does not fit into the picture of you that you wish to project into eternity. In the largest sense, all the bad things that happen are of your choosing. The mistake is not in choosing them, but in calling them bad. For in calling them bad, you call yourself bad, since you created them. This label you cannot accept, so rather than label yourself bad, you disown your own creations. It is this intellectual and spiritual dishonesty which lets you accept a world in which conditions are as they are. If you had to accept, or even felt a deep inner sense of personal responsibility for the world, it would be a far different place. This would certainly be true if everyone felt responsible. That this is so patently obvious is what makes it so utterly painful and so poignantly ironic. The world's natural calamities and disasters, its tornadoes and hurricanes, volcanoes and floods, its physical turmoils, are not created by you specifically. What is created by you is the degree to which these events touch your life. Events occur in the universe which no stretch of the imagination could claim you instigated or created. These events are created by the combined consciousness of man. All of the world, co-creating together, produces these experiences. What each of you do individually is more through them, deciding what, if anything, they mean to you, and who and what you are in relationship to them. Thus, you create collectively and individually the life and times you are experiencing for the sole purpose of evolving. You've asked if there is a less painful way to undergo this process, and the answer is yes. Yet, nothing in your outward experience will have changed. The way to reduce the pain which you associate with earthly experiences and events, both yours and those of others, is to change the way you behold them. You cannot change the outer event, for that has been created by the lot of you, and you are not grown enough in your consciousness to alter individually that which has been created collectively. So, you must change the inner experience. This is the road to mastery in living. Nothing is painful in and of itself. Pain is a result of wrong thought. It is an error in thinking. A master can disappear the most grievous pain. In this way, the master heals. Pain results from a judgment you have made about the thing. Remove the judgment, and the pain disappears. Judgment is often based upon previous experience. Your idea about a thing derives from a prior idea about that thing. Your prior idea results from a still prior idea, and that idea from another, and so forth, like building blocks until you get all the way back in the hall of mirrors to what I call first thought. All thought is creative, and no thought is more powerful than original thought. That is why this is sometimes also called original sin. Original sin is when your first thought about a thing is in error. That error is compounded many times over when you have a second or third thought about a thing. It is the job of the Holy Spirit to inspire you to new understandings which can free you from your mistakes.
Are you saying that I shouldn't feel bad about the starving children of Africa, the violence and injustice in America, the earthquake that kills hundreds in Brazil?
There are no shoulds or shouldn'ts in God's world. Do what you want to do. Do what reflects you, what represents you as a grander version of yourself. If you want to feel bad, but judge not, and neither condemn, for you know not why a thing occurs, nor to what end. And remember you this, that which you condemn will condemn you, and that which you judge will one day become. Rather, seek to change those things, or support others who are changing those things which no longer reflect your higher sense of who you are. Yet bless all, for all is the creation of God, through life living, and that is the highest creation.
Could we just stop here for a moment and let me catch my breath? Did I hear you say there are no shoulds or should nots in God's world?
That is correct.
How can that be? If there are none in your world, where would they be?
Indeed. Where?
I repeat the question. Where else would shoulds and should nots appear if not in your world?
In your imagination.
But those who have taught me all about the rights and wrongs, the do's and don'ts, the shoulds and shouldn'ts, told me all those rules were laid down by you, by God.
Then those who taught you were wrong. I have never set down a right or wrong, a do or a don't. To do so would be to strip you completely of your greatest gift, the opportunity to do as you please and experience the results of that. the chance to create yourself anew in the image and likeness of who you really are, the space to produce a reality of a higher and higher you, based on your grandest idea of what is of which you are capable. To say that something, a thought, a word, an action is wrong would be as much as to tell you not to do it. To tell you not to do it would be to prohibit you. To prohibit you would be to restrict you. To restrict you would be to deny the reality of who you really are, as well as the opportunity for you to create and experience that truth.